Hey everybody, my name is D and you're watching my tacky little show called D&D Ditches, and today the D stands for DiTerlizzi, as in Tony DiTerlizzi. I don't think I've done a single video on this channel without mentioning his name, so today we're going to honor the man whose name is synonymous with Dungeons and Dragons. This is Realms, the role-playing game art of Tony DiTerlizzi. Released in 2015 by Dark Horse Books, it has since been out of print, and you're looking at upwards of $300 by picking this up on eBay. Normally, the book looks more like that, so I was a little bit baffled when I found something which looked like this out in the wild. Apparently, this is the limited edition version, only 350 copies were ever released. So today, we're going to break this open and see what's inside. But before we begin, I want to give you a quick summary of Tony's career and why he is so revered in the D&D circles. Tony started his career as a freelance artist with the 1993 AD&D 2nd edition adventure Dragon Mountain, which he did the artwork for. Unfortunately, I don't own that box set to show you guys, but TSR was so impressed with his work that they asked him to work on the revised 2nd edition Monstrous Manual, the entire Monstrous Manual. But Tony didn't want to commit on that much of a workload, so he only took on part of the book. If you've been watching my monthly unboxing videos, hint, hint, I spoke about 2nd edition initially releasing its monster manual in a ring binder format like this, and additional supplements were released in loose leaf format like this so that you can add them to your ring binder. But as you can see, the binder quickly got overloaded and its pages were damaged by all the wear and tear. So in 1993, TSR released a revised hardcover copy of the Monstrous Manual, which is much more resistant to wear and tear. And with the revised release, it was a perfect opportunity to redo the art. Some of Tony's illustrations from that book, such as the Displacer Beast or the Dryad, are still fondly remembered. This is a 2013 premium reprint of that book. It has a different cover, but essentially the same as the original. After the Monstrous Manual, TSR wanted Tony to work on a new setting, but this project kept getting delayed. So during this time, he picked up some work for Dark Sun and White Wolf. This new setting turned out to be, of course, Planescape. Tony's artwork was able to convey a unique otherworldly feel for the setting and gave it a distinct personality. In 2003, Tony released the Spiderwick Chronicles, in which he co-authored and illustrated. He had mentioned that he always wanted to create children's books. And then in 2010, he authored, illustrated, and released The Search for WondLa, which eventually became a trilogy. So without further ado, let's break the seal and check this out. You'll notice that I brought out my Lady of Pain playmat. This is new artwork done by Tony for the 5e release of Planescape. You can see the book is still sealed in this glossy shrink wrap. Let's break the seal open. So the book is inside a slipcase. It feels like the exterior is covered by some kind of fabric. It has a tactile feel to it. The back is blank. The slip on the back reads Deluxe Slipcase Cloth-Bound Edition, 224-page 9x12 full-color hardcover with tip-in plates signed and numbered by the artist, 9x12 print signed and numbered by the artist and housed inside the cloth-bound portfolio, and limited to 350 copies. Let's see if we can take this out. It's in there really tight. It's very difficult to pull out. So this is the book and the front cover. This, I believe, is the portfolio. So let's take a look at the book first of all. The book is quite heavy. It says this edition is limited to 350 copies signed and numbered by the artist, of which this is 26. And it has Tony's autograph. The book features appreciations by a list of Tony's collaborators. Many of these are veterans of TSR and Dungeons & Dragons. We've got Wolfgang Bohr. He wrote a few of the Planescape products, and he moved on to form Kobold Press, which is still going strong. Holly Black, the co-author to Spiderwick Chronicles. We have the legendary Brom, who did all of the covers for Dark Sun. David Zeb Cook, veteran game designer from TSR. He was in charge of creating AD&D 2nd edition. Jeff Easley, veteran TSR artist. Colin McComb wrote several Planescape supplements. I recognize Adam Rex. He did some of the artwork for Planescape after Tony moved on. This is Fractal Quran of the Chaositex, and a Monodron. This is a drawing of the Displacer Beast from 1982, which Tony copied from the AD&D 1st edition Monster Manual. And this is the Displacer Beast which Tony illustrated in 1993 for the revised 2nd edition Monstrous Manual. More images from 1982, the Lizard Man and the Fire Giant. That's the Beholder from the Monstrous Manual, and we have the Medusa and a Kobold. The Etten, which is a two-headed giant. This is really interesting because these three are unpublished artwork. We have the Bullywug, Mongolman, and the Kenku. I actually really like this image of the Kenku based on a hawk rather than a raven. An interesting take on a creature which has become a lot more famous due to 5th edition. We have the Orc and the Ogre. The Hobgoblin and the Gnoll, Goblin and Troglodyte, the Mind Flayer, which is another piece that's quite famous, the Dryad, the Pixie, the Shambling Mound, Lizards and Snakes, which are unpublished, more unpublished images. This is a Minotaur with a +1 spear, and this is Conversation with a Brass Dragon. So now we move on to Planescape. We've got Fractal La of the Bleak Cabal, the Monodrone and the Minion of Set. This is Fractal Melon of the Mercy Killers. He got replaced after a couple of years. And the famous illustration of the Lady of Pain herself. Fractal Reese of the Transcendent Order, and this is a member of the Free League. That is the symbol of the Free League, but he was never given a name because the Free Leagues did not have fractals. And this is a playable race in the Planescape setting called the Barrior, like a centaur, but instead of being half man, half horse, it's half man and half goat or ram. And then we have the Nightmare and the Merinoloth. These creatures are based off of Charon from the Greek mythology, essentially ferrymen to the river Styx. This is the Cat Lord from Beastlands. You can see that her silhouette is a cat. Interesting that the Cat Lord was modeled after a real person. That's the Lizard Lord and the Clueless. This piece is titled Information Merchant, and it was from the Planes of Chaos box set. And the piece on the right is Lucas the Wanderer, which was unpublished. The Ammonite, which is a Tenari, also known as a demon. This piece is called Horungar the Evil Mage and His Apprentice Tiered, and it was from an art book in 1994 called Wizards I Have Known. This is the Tiefling as they appeared in the Monstrous Compendium. This was a piece that was unpublished. The piece on the right is called Tiefling in Sigil from Dragon Magazine number 203. The Erenice, which is a Beatazu, also known as a devil. The Cornugon, which is a Beatazu. And dragons. We have the Modrons, and this is a Tridrone. The Gardenals, which are a race of Celestials from Elysium. They look like humans with animal features. And this piece is called Please Knock If Answers Required from the Wizards I Have Known sketchbook, which I have never seen. And this section is on Changeling for White Wolf, the She-Noble and Troll, Vampire the Dark Ages. We're back to Planescape again. We have the Observer and the Spell Haunt, which is this entity over here. Moira the Witch and her legion of cat-sized toads from Wizards I Have Known. And Githyanki with Spectral Hounds. She-Warrior. Changeling. More from Changeling. And we're back in Planescape. We have the Asima, and we have Tashiva Longreach, who was the in-universe author of the Planewalker's Handbook. And this is the Planar Warrior, which appeared in the same book. Titania's Procession. This is the Planewalker Priest, and this piece is called the Rendezvous. Both of these appeared in the Planewalker's Handbook. These images are great examples on what tieflings were when they first introduced. Unlike the red-skinned horned versions of the tieflings as depicted in 5th edition, when tieflings were introduced in Planescape, they were a lot more diverse. Negotiating with the Pit Fiend. It's from the same book. You can see that the Planewalker Priest is the same character, as well as the Planewalker Warrior. The Githyanki, and the Gate Town of Hopeless. So this piece appeared in the Hellbound The Blood War Deluxe box set, and it came with an art book. This is Sly Nye from Uncaged. He's more or less something akin to a defense attorney, but he only takes on the cases that really pique his interest. Casto Bright Eyes and his assistant Sir Cleave. Sir Cleave was a paladin until he died on the Abyss, and then reincarnated into the body of a Bodak. However, he still retains his lawful good alignment, and they run a bookstore together in the lower ward. The next section is on Tony's work on Magic the Gathering. Giant Growth. Frozen Shade. Merfolk of the Pearl Trident. Horned Turtle. Verdant Force. A Golden Afternoon, which is the cover of Dragon Magazine number 242. Angelic Blessing. Workhorse. This is Le Sorcier from a French magazine called Casses Belli, number 112. Wizards from Earthquake, which was another card game. I Spy. Song of Serenity. Argothian Elder. Goblin War Buggy. The Dragon Summoner, the cover of Dragon Magazine number 251. Deep Trouble, which is the cover of Dungeon Adventures number 72. Path of a Thousand Whispers from Vampire the Masquerade. Mind Flayers from Dungeon Adventures number 262. More unpublished artwork with the Hobgoblin Wins Initiative and Dungeon Crawl. Brainstorm from Magic the Gathering. Twilight Traveler, the cover of Dungeon Adventures 262. Lure. Venomous Breath. Vine Trellis. Both of these are from Dungeon Adventures 78. So I recognize this piece of artwork. It is a shad. They're gnome-like creatures from the elemental plane of Earth, as I recently used it in an adventure. The other pieces are from Spiderwick. And this is the Asima from the 3rd edition Monster Manual, as well as the Tiefling. Forgotten Harvest from Magic the Gathering. Pseudo Dragon from Dragon Magazine 286. So the cover of Dragon Magazine 270. Lizardman. The Illswitch from Dragon Magazine 286. Charging Bullet from Dungeon Adventures 85. Harpy Attack from Dungeon Adventures 89, which is also the cover. Attacking an Uncag from Dungeon Adventures 85. This is an illustration of the Spider Queen Lolth from the 3rd edition Deities and Demigods. More magic. This is the Medusa from the DiTerlizzi Gal pinup portfolio from 2002. So apparently in the 2002 Gen Con, he created a pinup portfolio of 4 fantastic beauties. The Fairy and the Succubus. Mermaid. An unpublished piece called Drain Trap from 2006. So this is really interesting. These were created between 2010 and 2023. They were unpublished. These are essentially practice artwork that he did using Planescape characters for his WondLa trilogy. So this is an updated version of the Erinyes which he did for Planescape previously, and this is the original image. This looks like Fractal Reese of the Transcendent Order. And this one looks like Fractal La of the Bleak Cabal. I'm not exactly sure what this creature is supposed to be. So there are more unpublished sketches from 2012. These are kobolds. One thing that I really love about Tony's illustrations is that all of his characters have so much personality, especially the eyes. They're very expressive. Look at these expressions. And this is the image of the kobold that was eventually published in Deep Magic from 2012. Hobgoblin of the Sutherlands from the DiTerlizzi Masterworks miniature line. Raven Switchsword from the Masterwork miniature line again. I've noticed that the further along in his career, he's started drawing more and more sexy, bodacious women, whereas the females in his earlier work, particularly Planescape, were a lot more demure. This is an unpublished piece in 2013, is the Gnome Illusionist. Tony did the illustration for the gnome in the 2nd edition Monstrous Manual, so this is an updated design of the gnome. Something I've also noticed is that a lot of his sketches tend to have characters with candles on their heads or on their hats. I saw that a fan tweeted him a while ago asking if there was a law reason on why people wore candles on their head in Planescape, and his response was that he just thought it was cool at the time. So I actually worked that into my game. I had a guard on duty and he wore a helmet with a lit candle on his head, and the reason for that was that the candle acted like the clock, as when the candle burned out that would mean the end of his shift. We have some more unpublished artwork. This one is called Sturge Attack. If you know what sturges are, they're flying creatures which suck people's blood, but they are not cute like this. Tony's style really lends itself well to children's books because it's so whimsical. This is his line of miniatures. Harvey Mesha the Kobold Slayer, and that's the artwork and the miniature. This is called Sahagwin of the Gygax tribe, and more unpublished artwork. Lou Crotta, which is unpublished, and Eye of the Beholder, which was also unpublished. I love this piece because normally the beholders would be depicted as really scary, whereas in this piece the beholder looks more curious, kind of give me a Dory kind of vibe. Black Pudding and Dexterity bonus, both unpublished. Shadow Fiend, unpublished. So this piece is called The Goblin Rolls a 20. And the Zorn, which is from the elemental plane of Earth. I've never seen a Zorn being depicted like this. This is a sketch of the kobold that he did when he was young, and this is a piece of the kobold that he did in 2014. I'm surprised that this book doesn't contain any of his work from Dragon Mountain, as there was a lot of kobolds in that adventure. I often hear people reminisce about the kobold with a scorpion on a stick. I'm going to find that image and put it on screen for you. The North American owlbear. And the portrait of a young tiefling, and she has a baby Displacer Beast in her lap. And that's an oil painting. Wow. Now let's take a look at this portfolio. It contains the print of the Tiefling painting and autographed by Tony. So that's it. It seems like the core book itself contains all the pages from the regular edition of the book. The limited edition obviously comes with the slipcase, the cover having a different piece of artwork, everything being cloth bound, and the portfolio which contains a signed print of the painting. Hey, thanks for hanging out with me today. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know down below if there are any other second edition products you would like to see an unboxing video on. Until next time, hope we get to hang out again in my next video.